Joined now by Senator Jason Anavitarte from Dallas, Georgia. He is the chairman of the Senate Study Committee on Truck Driver Shortages. And Senator, the good news is the economy of Georgia is growing very rapidly, but the challenge is they need more truck drivers in these industries.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. Thanks for having me. I think right now we've seen tremendous record-setting job creation in Georgia under Governor Kemp. And I know that with every new project, especially those in the supply chain world, workforce is always the number one question. How are we going to fill jobs to move product across the state? And this study committee was basically focused on that.
So will we see some kind of legislation coming up in this year's session?
Yeah, so I think what we're going to see is we're going through analyzing the study committee report that was finalized a few weeks ago, and identifying which pieces of legislation, or depending on an agency, whether rulemaking maybe just needs to be the solution. But I know one of the recommendations that impacts the trucking industry is tort reform, just because of frivolous lawsuits and costs that are impacting trucking companies to keep workers, and the impacts it has on insurance and all those sorts of things. But also, too, I think, how do we get more people in the industry wanting to drive a truck? As we've seen the economy shift, where we've seen a lot of truck drivers. My dad worked in the trucking industry his entire life. And, it's not what it used to be in terms of work-life balance, hours on the road, over the road. And, we've seen a lot of people even move from driving a tractor trailer to, wanting to drive an Amazon van, just because, they got set hours, and the life work balance is a little bit different. So a lot of challenges in this economy, but I think, we need a plan for the future, and there's thousands of opportunities we need to look forward to, going forward.
Also meeting that challenge, you want skilled truck drivers. You want to protect the people on the roads as well, the other drivers.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we need safe roads. And I think one of the things a lot of trucking companies we heard through testimony is, their retention. And a lot of folks are, you got companies that are training individuals. I don't want to call them necessarily fly-by-night companies, but not training them properly, not necessarily kind of like the technical college system of Georgia does, where they do a phenomenal job. But we also have private sector third-party vendors that do a great job. And I think figuring out how do we gel those two things with the industry to get more drivers produced. But also, too, I think we got to look at, our younger generation, those in middle school and high school, talking about the opportunities of what it could be to drive a truck. And some of folks coming out of school, once they reach of age, because of insurance, requirements by the feds, could make $80,000 to $100,000 or more a year, depending on their situation and depending on who's hiring them.
All right, a good challenge ahead for the future. Senator Jason Anavitarte, thank you very much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me and covering this important issue.